I've moved, so things are gonna be looking a little different. I need to find a place to hang all my flags. It also, for some reason, feels like I have an angel and devil here on my shoulders. Makeshift.com. The makeshift link to order these is in the description down below. Hey! I noticed you're an American, capable of identifying every single country in the world except African ones. Is it safe to assume that you're a fan of Hearts of Iron 4? Damn it! He found out. Douglas MacArthur knows me all too well. Hearts of Iron 4, the strategy game about World War II, is, well, obviously about World War II. And at that time, most of this continent was completely controlled by the Europeans, so please don't ask me where Mauritania is. I actually do know that one, but are your ancestors really proud of you? This girl thinking, no. Meanwhile, me thinking, yes. I mean, at this point, I can buy all the bananas I want, although I do have to pay taxes. I guess there's a chance my ancestors aren't so proud of me. What goes on in the panhandle of our U.S. state of Oklahoma? There was actually a very famous game made about this region. As I'll just hope the plants there continue to keep the zombies at bay. This person wrote an extension which replaces every picture of Sydney Sweeney with a picture instead of Mao Zedong. This is what the American government thinks TikTok is about to do to all of our minds. This is how the revolution will begin. Jigsaw be like, so for your next test, if you can survive for 10 minutes in this tank containing hot water at 80 degrees, you'll get to... Meanwhile, all Americans ever, we're just gonna dive on in. It's important to ask what unit of measurement Jigsaw's talking about. Americans will look at this and be like, oh, 80 degrees Fahrenheit? That's cool. 80 degrees Celsius, that's not so much. We're gonna be boiled alive. How about 80 degrees in Kelvin? We'll freeze. Ah, Eastern Europe. It's even better in person. Meanwhile, come see the building. I love that so many Americans actually do think like this. We just be loving this vibe. Meanwhile, in Pyongyang, the capital of North Korea, they for some reason have an embassy for the Ottoman Empire. The Ottomans, which collapsed over 100 years ago. I'm just trying to think how this is even possible. Is there still one Solomon in there hiding out, keeping the dream alive? Did you know? In order to play the role of an angry and mentally depressed person in the movie The Batman, Robert Pattinson studied the history of the Ottoman Empire. Who would have thought? This is actually such a smart way to have a really depressing time. Be Asian. Decide that rice will be your prominent food. Decide to use chopsticks, aka the worst thing to eat rice with. Why are they like that? Asks apparently this French man right here. I feel like they do it just to flex on all of us. I myself am barely competent with chopsticks. I can only really use them with noodles. I got a long way to go before I can rank up. Delusional cosplayers versus the real Italians. Of course, everyone knows real Italians only come from New Jersey, New York, also Argentina, Uruguay, and Brazil. I don't exactly know the origin story to these memes I'm seeing all over Twitter, but there's so many of them like this. Delusional cosplayers to the American South. Meanwhile, the real Confederates in the world. Now, this is referencing how a lot of people from the South, after losing the Civil War, went down to Brazil. You can actually still go down to Brazil to this town and see them today, which is just kind of hilarious. Delusional cosplayers, this one referring to Wales versus the real Welsh down here in Argentina. I love how this meme started off by being just so dumb, to be honest, but then the format evolved to actually being a little educational. Wales actually did establish a colony here in South America back in 1865. To this day, there are still Welsh-speaking settlements in the country. Delusional cosplayers versus the real okay, well, maybe I spoke too soon about saying this is educational. Is that what Christopher Columbus meant this whole time? These were the real Indians? I don't think so, but Americans start using the metric system. They only use it to measure the diameter of bullets. But I mean, come on. Isn't this on brand? What else did you expect? Fact, 90% of Chinese emperors stopped funding their court alchemists right before they conquered an elixir of immortality for real this time, guys. Wait, wasn't there a Chinese emperor that did figure this out? It was the element mercury, right? You want to definitely put this in your body, only slightly worse than the color dyes, alright? Just kidding, don't do this. Nobody! The History Channel at 3 a.m. Could the US military defend Hogwarts from Voldemort? I have to admit, this is pretty ridiculous, but I do want answers. Oh god, the millennials coming out at me. How's Voldemort gonna handle this? J.K. Rowling trying to come up with a name for a Japanese character that isn't Kamikaze Cherry Blossom. Well, I will admit that is a different punchline than I've seen before. Usually the J.K. Rowling names she comes up with are so much worse. It's never too late to start believing in yourself. Vlad the Impaler didn't even start impaling people until his mid-30s. And that's literally all he's known for now. You can do it too. I still consider beginning to just start to impale people. Active service on land and sea. Join the U.S. Marines today at Enlist. Okay. We're flashing back to the time the U.S. Marines actually tried to use waifu propaganda. That's seriously what we've come to. Greatest collapses in history. The collapse of the Roman Empire, the collapse of the Byzantine Empire, the collapse of the Theorist Empire. This one will always bring the most tears to my eyes. I have to remind myself it's not over. It's just a new beginning. This flag was my creation. You stole it. That's not surprising because stealing is the only thing you're known for. I created the flag in 1881. I just couldn't use it for a while because of the Soviets. The only thing people know even. We're talking about the nation of Romania and the African nation of Chad. Hey, nice to meet you. I just realized we're using the same flag. The pleasure's all mine. What an awesome coincidence. Though this might be confusing for other nations, I'll add a crown to mine. Cool. I also added my coat of arms for governmental use. In this example, we're talking Haiti and the nation of Liechtenstein. They just did the much more Chad thing to do, pardon the pun. They was cool with copying each other's homeworks, but they actually did change it up a bit. Study finds 100% of men would immediately leave their desk job if asked to fight for humanity on other planets. I'm sure the actual 100% number is not true, but yeah, I feel a majority of men probably would want to partake in some sort of Helldivers experience, as long as we can respawn. LeBron James reportedly forgot to encourage clergymen. Wait, really? In 1896? What an idiot. This reminds me of the time LeBron James reportedly forgot to garrison the French coastline. Man, he makes some dumb mistakes. Don't forget to check out Fortnite, Genshin Impact, and Doom Eternal. Shut up, nerd. Loads up Total War Rome Remastered. It's so beautiful. I feel like this is only going to continue to happen. I'm going to build like a PC in the year 2030 just to play Civilization 5, a game that's like 20 years old. This says a movie or TV show with a primate character. The animation studios, for some reason, giving them all Cuban accents. This was only recently brought to my attention. I guess in a lot of Spanish dubs, they're using Cuban accents for some reason for like the monkey character. Why did they not think that was a bad idea? That's not right. That's messed up. Is this just some sort of sick joke? Recently, someone pointed out you can drive 9.5 hours in the state of North Carolina and still be in North Carolina, claiming Europeans cannot comprehend this sort of thing. However, there were very quickly a lot of rebuttals. Yeah, technically the logic just doesn't really make much sense, does it? Or how about this? Even better, you can fly for 16 hours from France and still be in France. I think the British have this ability too. They both still have a lot of overseas territories. We call our capital the Queen of Cities on account of it being the most beautiful, prosperous, impressive, whatever. We call your capital Big Wall on account of it having big walls. I like the way this Vargarian guard thinks. That's much better. Pretty sure I mispronounced that, but it makes me think, why did we start calling New York the Big Apple? What did the settlers see there before? You are, without a doubt, the worst Mesopotamian copper merchant I've ever heard of, but you have heard of me. Got him. We're talking, as I always do, at least once a week, the first ever 1-star review in world history. This like 4,000-year-old tablet made just to complain. The U.S. preparing to obliterate China in another competition unrelated to fixing their own economy. This is pretty much how we got through the Cold War. This is all we know how to do. Focus on getting that dub. Venezuelan inflation, milk costs twice as much today as it did a week ago. Meanwhile, American inflation, I have to start cooking instead of eating McDonald's. All right, this is literally me. Inflation, I think, is bad here in the U.S., but we still have a long way to go to be able to compete with Venezuela on this. I don't want to compete with Venezuela on this, but finally, evidence that Sweden was the one that built the pyramids. I knew it. The way they built these giant triangles in the desert, it was almost a little bit too cost efficient. Me telling people I'm African, I'm white from South Africa. Alright. Well, in technical terms, you still can say this, but, I'd probably avoid it, maybe. Depending on who you're around. Some people get angry. 50 degrees Celsius averages for the next several months. Meanwhile, the people on the equator. Wait, what? Oh, it's only happening to the equator. Yeah, this is a time of year where if you don't like hot weather, you probably don't want to be living in these countries. You're gonna be boiled alive. The US version versus the German version. In this battle, we have Fruit Loops. Weird, the US version has so many more ingredients. Why did the German version decide to leave out red 40, yellow 5, blue 1, yellow 6? Isn't that the stuff that makes it taste so good? I thought everyone knew the human body loves consuming products with just a color's name and a number attached to it, what our ancestors would want. Yeah, really though, we are slowly phasing that out. At least California is. We got a long way to go though. I think we've only banned red dye number 3 so far though. How many more colors and numbers do we have to go? I don't give a freaking poop what someone from California freaking thinks. Oh, okay. waifu. I guess I'll just move on. And big thanks to my patrons.
Toru I'm your dad back with chimilk look outside.
Kansas was mentioned. Douchebag, fat Norwell, Carmel, amateur archaeology, the beautiful Megan Edward, Underwood, Frederick Headley, without Inquisitor Zarius, John Reno is best girls, Ride the Pie, I love the Mexican 760, and Zany Boy.